Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In a series of lectures, we will go through the book by Giannini on the age of central banks. This book provides deep insights into the theory of money.
Start with chapter 1, which provides amazing clarity on a fundamental question. Is money a creator of the creation of the state, or is it creation of the market to facilitate exchange?
So, what is money? If we look at the literature, we see a bundle of contradictions. There are debates which have gone over through centuries, unresolved controversies, many different schools of thought, including the quantity theory, which says that money simply doesn't matter. So we will argue that history is important, but the issue is to understand how. It's interesting that Sir John Hicks changed his position on this issue, initially saying that the goal of monetary theory should be explained how money has evolved over time, and later becoming a new classical who says money is a timeless invariant which works the same way throughout history. And there is some sense to this, that one doesn't need to know the history of automobiles to understand how the car engine works.
The classicals assume that there are no transaction costs, deep knowledge, and the value of money will be stable, is perfectly known to everybody. You'll see that it's no wonder that these assumptions make money irrelevant. The value depends on the risks, on the transaction costs, and on the lack of knowledge.
So the key to understanding money is that there's uncertainty. I take a piece of paper, but what will I be able to do with it? Who will accept this? So basically the issue is one of trust. If I know that everybody trusts in money, then I know that I will be able to use it tomorrow. And how I will be able to use it, that also depends on trust, on the value of money being relatively stable and the prices being relatively stable across time. So when I accept a piece of paper, it depends on my expectations about how I will be able to use this in the future. And these expectations depend partly on me, but more on the general environment in which we are operating.
So the value of money depends crucially on what is going to happen in the future. Uncertainty means that nobody really knows with any certainty what is going to happen. What determines the social expectations, which in turn determine the value? Well, social expectations are determined by the past experience of the public. So this is what makes history. What has happened in the past with money determines what things will happen in the future.
So there are two different functions of history. One is that by looking at the history of prices, whether they have been stable, and the history of how money has been issued and how it has been used and how people have been accepting it, we will be able to predict whether or not money will be acceptable and the level to which and how it will operate. But the more interesting issue is that monetary theory, a theory of how money works, will be able to explain the history itself. Because if money is based on trust, then we have to understand how trust is created, and basically we can see that the history will evolve towards trying to create this trust. And so how money evolves through time will be determined by how we can create institutions which can create confidence in money. So there have been two different theories, both of them mentioned by Aristotle in his books. One of them is the exchange theory, that money facilitates exchange. So barter is not required. I buy something for money and then I can sell it for money, and I can sell what I don't, excess of what I have, and buy what I need by the use of money. So it facilitates exchange. But there's another theory also mentioned by Aristotle, that the money is a creation of the state. The state's authority provides the legal framework for the use of money. The institutional analysis that we'll do shows that both aspects are essential to money. And the neoclassical analysis throws out the essential elements of economic activity. When I buy something today, I don't know what will happen tomorrow. And so there is a huge amount of uncertainty when I accept money. And basically, if you think about the production, a firm hires laborers and incurs costs and produces goods, but it has no idea what it will be able to sell these goods for. It has no idea what the value of money that it spent today will be tomorrow. So essential aspects of the future are unknown, and so basically institutions which provide some guarantees of some sort, which allow the firm to say to undertake these decisions of production with some confidence that the money that they're spending today they will be able to recoup tomorrow. These are essential to the use of money. And as experiences accumulate, as failures occur, as crises occur, people figure out that the reasons for the crisis and the reasons how to solve them and the methods to solve them, and these are incorporated in the institutions which govern the creation and use of money. So basically both aspects of money, the state guarantee provides the basic trust that people can say that the government guarantees stands behind this money, so it will remain valid. And then the exchange theory explains why people use money all the time for all transactions, because it's so convenient. And both of these things are essential to understand money. You can't do one or the other.
So we have seen that the institutional framework is essential to understanding money. Since this is not covered in conventional economics, we give some basics. Institutions create order out of chaos, and they indicate conflict which arises between parties to a transaction. They allow people to realize mutual gains from the transaction. One of the essentials of understanding institutional approaches to understand that it's not just producers and consumers which sell goods at prices that are given by the market. There is a whole institutional framework which enables this market exchange. And consumers and producers, nobody has knowledge. Consumers don't know the prices. They don't know how these prices will evolve. They don't know the value. They don't know how this will change through time. So this idea of rationality that everybody knows, has complete knowledge of everything, is just not suitable, relevant, and actually an obstacle to understanding and marketing. And the third thing is the economist's concern with equilibria, and is an obstacle to understanding, because actually economies evolve over time, institutions change in the attempt to overcome the problems that are arising in institutions of money. This is learned by experience, and so the change is also predictable. So section 1.2 provides the central concept of money as a payment technology. So Giannini says that there are three conditions which are essential to have a monetary power. One is that there should be a unit of account, a way to measure the value of all goods in one unit. Then there has to be some procedure to complete the sale of a good, so that you can exchange money for goods. It is considered that this transaction is now final. And then there is the unit of account may not be the unit in which payments are being made. So there has to be that's typically been the case throughout history. Coin is a representative of a gold value, but the coin itself does not have that gold value. So there has to be some way to ensure that the conversion between the money being used to carry out the transaction and the unit is stable. So, for example, this is not clear to us because we both things, the price and the currency moves are in the same told that goods are priced in dollars and we are paying in rupees, this is the issue that is consideration. How do we put this in dollars in a stable way? So one of the things that is stressed by Giannini is that the key element is the finality of the transaction. Make a payment with one person, the other person gives you goods, then the transaction is complete. There is no further obligations on either party, on either side. This has to be done as a social convention, but also backed by legal protection. Giannini introduces the 3 by 3 theorem, which is a very useful way to understand the role of money. There are only two goods, then there is no need of money because you can set an exchange rate between them and just trade the two of them. Money is also not useful if there are only two people, because between two people, any number of goods, they can just barter with each other without any money. So we need at least 3 goods and 3 people for a monetary economy. What this means is that two people are carrying out an exchange. One person gives money for the goods of the second person. The value of this money is implicitly dependent on what the existence of this third person. This leads to the clarity on the idea that money is a social convention. When I'm buying good from person X is buying from person Y, this use of money is enabled by the fact that I know that other parties are willing to accept this money. If there are no other parties or if they're not willing, then the money exchange could not be carried out. So it is the social convention, the acceptability of money by all parties, which makes money what it is. So money provides us with the flow of services, but these are affected by 2 important factors. If somehow the supply of money suddenly increases, the prices will go down and the value of my money will be reduced. So I need to ensure that supply is managed stably. Also, there is the confidence in money, which is must be had by the general public. This is what makes money acceptable. These are factors which influence the value. So these 2 factors can be expressed in more formal models, like the value of money is the rate of interest on deposit accounts minus the rate of inflation. The rate of inflation is the rate at which the value of money is decreasing. The rate of interest is what you get on money that you hold. So if there is so the difference between these two is the value of money across time. But there's also the beta factor, which is the confidence in the stability of the value of money across time. This is going to be the focus. How is this confidence created? So the people who are creating money must give some sort of a guarantee that they will do so in a stable way, which will maintain the value of money. If they do not give any guarantees, either by historical experience or by promises, then we are in a stable position that we're holding this money and somebody else can completely destroy the value of that. So it's very comfortable to do that. So for every payment technology, there must be some rules, conventions, institutional mechanisms which ensure that which provide confidence, even though these rules may be violated. At least the people should have some trust that the behavior will be according to these rules, which will protect the value of the money. So basically, the theory of money is mostly about this confidence creating mechanism. How do people get confidence that the money that they have is going to be worth something tomorrow, that everybody will be willing to take it? So one important element of this is the law. There must be some legal enforcement if somebody does something wrong with money, uses something, doesn't accept it. There must be some way to enforce the contracts made in money so that this is part of the confidence creation money, which is essential to understand. So there are 3 types of confidence creating mechanisms. One is the simplest, which is the commodity money. You have gold. is itself valuable, something of general value, socially recognized. Therefore, it automatically has its own confidence. If the second method is the producers of money, the ones who create money, provide some guarantee, some pledge, or there are some legal constraints which bind them to responsibility in money creation, so that we can trust that our money will not be suddenly reduced in value. Third possibility is something which is called vertical integration. Producers and consumers cooperate in creating a mechanism which is beneficial to both parties and gives rights and responsibilities to both parties. So we will give an example of three types of mechanisms. First type is the commodity money, gold and silver, and other commodities generally recognized by value. The second type is the guarantee of value. So, for example, if you have paper currency and the government guarantees that it will be converted to gold at fixed quantities, this ensures that the government cannot do too much money printing, because otherwise they will not be able to honor this guarantee of conversion. So this ensures responsible behavior and creation of fiat. The third type is the vertical integration. Producers of the money are banks. They are under the control of central banks, which are answerable to the public. So central banks ensure that the producers of the money don't engage in irresponsible behavior. So basically, the public is controlling indirectly the money creation. So that is the end of section 1.2. Giannini, now we come to section 1.3, which deals with the costs of creating payment technology, which play an essential role in the evolution of money across time.
So this section begins with the explanation of the commodity money paradox and ends with its resolution. And the paradox is simply this: commodity money is highly inefficient, as we will show, and yet it has persisted for a long time across diverse geographical regions and for centuries. So why does an inefficient payment technology show such strength? Now, textbooks describe the characteristics required for a commodity money, but these really miss the main point, which arise in terms of the value, the utility and disutility of using commodity money, as we will show. So one set of disadvantages is the technological ones, the cost of producing the commodity money, and also the fact that when you're using gold then as money, you can't use it for other purposes. And Giannini actually estimates these two items and shows that they are quite expensive. But we will concern ourselves with the more important macro problems that arise with commodity money. And that's basically that the amount of money doesn't adapt to the needs of the economy. So the simplest problem is that the stock of money is fixed, but the economy is expanding. Then prices must fall in order to accommodate the large volume of trade. Now the problem is that prices are not flexible downwards, and there are a large number of reasons for this, because basically one needs to make coordinated changes in a decentralized fashion across a large number of different sectors of the economy, and this is always very hard to do. There's a huge transaction and information cost which is completely ignored by neoclassicals. So if the prices don't adjust, then the economy will fall into recession and depression, because there's not enough money to allow the economy to function at full capacity. So history is full of examples of economies which fell into recession because the money stock was too little. A standard method of handling this was to introduce coinage, which would, where the stamped value of the coin would be 1 ounce, but the actual gold content would be much less. So that's one set of, but this led to its own set of problems. Another collection of problems which arose in history, less often, but was that an influx of gold would lead to inflation. So both of these cause problems to the economy because the gold supply is not adjusted to the needs of the economy. So this analysis allows us to resolve the paradox. Even though commodity money has been used for centuries, even though there is a better mechanisms available, more adapted to the economy, that's because no one has been able to create the confidence required to create money. Sovereigns, kings, would not be trusted by the government, by the people, because they would tend to create money in an irresponsible manner. And so basically, because of the neoclassical theory just ignores these issues of confidence, trust, and certainty, and that is why it's faced with this pseudo paradox. So these characteristics that are given are not really relevant in the textbooks. What we really need for a commodity money is that it should have an alternative, easy use that creates the confidence. And that's one part of the confidence, that if nobody else honors it, it will be useful in and of itself. And the other part of the confidence is that there should be that the rigid supply, the supply schedule should be rigid, so that there can be no influx of large amounts of money. So the central problem of the Middle Ages was to handle the discrepancies between the printed value of the minted coins and the actual gold value. And this used to deviate from each other because of the needs of the government to increase the stock of money in response to the needs of the economy. So there's a tension between the inefficiency of commodity money and the necessity of creating confidence in any means that you use to enhance. So section 3 concludes with the remarks that there's a fundamental tension between adaptability of the money supply to the environment, to the economic environment, and the confidence creation mechanism. If we make money adaptable, then we have to give someone the power to create it flexibly, but this power can easily be abused. On the other hand, you can fix the rate of money creation. That's famous rule of Milton Friedman, that there should be just a fixed rate of increase of money, give no power to the authority to change the supply of money. So this leads to the maximum amount of confidence, but the minimum amount of flexibility to adapt to the needs of the economy. So those people who favor adaptability favor the government control of money, and those people who favor the confidence side, which is the market side of the matter, then they say that the government should not have any discretionary power in the creation of money so as to maximize the confidence. So there's this fundamental tension, and the institution of money has evolved under the pressures of this tension on both sides.